Good morning, students. Am I audible to all of you?
Good morning, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, namaskar, sir. Morning. Morning, sir.
Can any one of you give me feedback whether I am audible to you?
Yes, sir. Audible.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
जा आंटी कह दो ऊपर पानी पड़ला कह दी पड़ा जा
Janaranjan, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. You are absolutely
sir,
audible,
it is audible, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Chinmay Prabha Sahu, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Sir, namaskar. Sir, it is audible, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, it is audible, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, it is audible, sir.
Dear students, can any one of you give me feedback whether I am audible?
Yes, sir. It is
sir.
audible, sir. Sir,
Hello, sir.
Subhu, sir.
Janaranjan Panigrahi.
Sir, sir, your voice is very much audible and clear, sir. Hello, sir. Sir, your voice is very much audible and clear, sir.
Sir, your voice is audible to
Janaranjan
us, sir.
Panigrahi, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, you are absolutely audible, sir. Hello,
Hello, sir. It is audible, sir.
so it is very much audible, sir.
It's not audible.
Dr. De, are you there online? Dr. De? Dr. De, are you online?
Jadi question lagi, answer lagi.
Dr. De?
Sir, namaskar. Hello. Sir, namaskar. Hello. Hello. Sir, namaskar.
Dr. De,
Sir, namaskar. Hello.
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 Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Morning, sir.
Morning, morning. अरे ମୁଁ ତ ସାର୍ ଙ୍କୁ କଥା ହଉଛି ସାର୍ ଙ୍କୁ ଶୁଣା ଯାଉନି।
Sir, you. ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍ ଲାଗୁଛି ସାର୍ଙ୍କର କିଛି ସମସ୍ୟା ହେଇଛି ସେପଟୁ ଶୁଭା ଯାଉନି ଆମେ କିନ୍ତୁ ସାର୍ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କ୍ଲିୟରଲି ଶୁଣିପାରୁଛୁ
ହଁ କିନ୍ତୁ
ସାର୍ଙ୍କୁ ବି ଶୁଣିପାରୁଛୁ
ସାର୍ ଙ୍କୁ ଶୁଣିପାରୁଛ ଯେ ସାର୍ଙ୍କର କ'ଣ ଅଛି ଅସୁବିଧା ତେଣୁ ସାର୍ଙ୍କୁ ଟିକେ କହିଦେଲେ ମୁଁ ତାପରେ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କରିବି ଆଉ ହେଲା।
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
ହଁ ଟିକେ ମୁଁ
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ସାର୍ଙ୍କୁ କଣ୍ଟାକ୍ଟ କରୁଛି ଯଦି ତୁମେ ବି ପାରିବ କହିଦିଅ ଯେ ସାର୍ ଆମେ ତ ଶୁଣି ପାରୁଛୁ ସାର୍ ବି ଶୁଣି ପାରୁଛନ୍ତି ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କିନ୍ତୁ ଆପଣ ଶୁଣି ପାରୁନାହାନ୍ତି।
ହଉ ସାର୍ ଆମେ ସାର୍ ଏଥିରେ ଲେଖି ଦଉଛୁ ଯୋଉ ଚାଟ୍ ବକ୍ସରେ ଲେଖି ଦଉଛୁ ସାର୍ ତ
ହଁ
ଶୁଣି
ହଁ
ପାରୁନାହାନ୍ତି ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ
ଲେଖିଦେଲ ଟିକେ ଦେନ୍ ତାପରେ ସାର୍ କହିଲା ବେଳେ ଆମେ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କରିବା।
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
Dr. De, are you online? Can you hear me?
ହଁ ସାର୍ ମୁଁ ସାର୍ ଶୁଣିପାରୁଛି ସାର୍ ଆଇ ହିୟର
Laptop. Therefore, I was trying to connect, but I could not due to some fault there in the microphone. So anyway, it is already 20 minutes past 10.
ओके सर
Let me welcome all the learners who have joined so far. There are 47 learners joined so far. So you're also welcome to today's session. Please take over the session and touch upon the various aspects which are left out there in the last class. So please take over.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you. Dear students, then I'm sorry that I'm late. So I have discussed block number 1 and 2, some portion of the 2, and it is we'll try to complete the discussion today itself and maximum touching upon the block number 2 and its application in the block number 3 and 4. So we have completed unit 5 of block number 2, that was organizing teaching learning experiences, and we shall start with the block number 2 and unit 6, that is approaches in science teaching learning, then methods in science teaching learning, then learning resources in science, and assessment in science. I want to clarify you that in unit 6, the maximum concentration is given on approaches in teaching learning science. Exactly in unit 7, these were reflected as methods in teaching learning science. So we shall discuss about the combined approach to deal with the unit 6 and 7 because they have much more relationship. Then with regard to learning resources in science, that is unit 8, we shall touch upon something because it is very easy. Whatever different types of learning resources available for science education. Then towards the last part, we shall cover up the process of assessment in science. Then friends, we shall first switch over to what is the approach of teaching science. So perhaps you are sometimes you are very very much confused that what is the difference between method and what is the difference between method and approach. Sometimes it turmoils us whether it is same or different, because it is said inquiry approach, it is said inquiry method, it is said problem solving approach, it is said problem solving method, it is said the approach is you see your books, that is inquiry approach, it is said, then problem solving approach, then cooperative learning approach. In this way, there are 3 approaches it is being considered. Then in unit 7, it is said that there are various methods, and it is a demonstration method, lecture demonstration method, laboratory method, then investigatory project, heuristic projects, natural exploration. That means within the very approaches, there are categorized various methods. So first time we have to make understand what is the difference between approach and method. Approach is nothing but it is a way of dealing with something or somebody. That means how to deal with the persons. What is the approach? From which angle? From which perspective you are saying this? You are dealing this. You are doing that particular activities. But method is a process where several steps, pre-decided steps are taken to deal with an issue or that person. That means approach is a particular way or a particular direction, a particular way to deal something or somebody. But method is a systematic process or various steps are there in order to solve the issue, deal the issue, or deal the persons. As an approach could be seen in your perspective. Approach, it is felt from your perspective, from your ideas, from the belief system of the students, of various persons. But it also encompasses set of logical assumptions, because you should not mean that approach is not logical. Approach is also a logical. That could be made better comprehension. So if we clearly understand the approach is nothing but it may have a theoretical base, it may have an ideological perspective, it can be thought from that angle. So it is nothing but it is very from the perspective from where you are thinking. But what is method? Method is a plan. It is a systematic plan or set of orderly procedure. When it is ordered in a systematic steps or procedure, then it is nothing but it is a method, and it is credible one. And it reveals method. When we are using the term method, it reveals what needs to be done. That means the future actions, what should be done by the teachers, what should be done by the students, it is clearly explained, it is clearly understood. Then, and it is understood that the method is nothing but a procedure or a system where systematic steps are being embedded or there is an interrelationship. So after the method is employed, our objective is filled up. Techniques is nothing but precise strategy, because sometimes we are confused what is method, what is strategy, what is approach, what is technique. So these are the somehow the literal or understanding difference between approach and methods. So we will start with the different approaches. It is mentioned under unit 6. First, you see in page number 34, inquiry approach. What do you mean by inquiry approach? The students are curious inborn. It is a inborn quality. Every child is curious in nature. So curiosity, if a child has, so he will be curious to know. When he is curious to know, it is nothing but inquiry bent of mind. Suppose I see a particular thing, but I gaze at a thing. So these are the different terms, gazing at a thing and seeing at the thing. So when you are gazing at a thing, that means you are thinking something about that object, that thing. So you are very much keenly interested in that object. Why, what it is, how it is formed, why it is looking so. So in this way, there are some inquiry in between you. So if this approach is there, if your inquisitive bent of mind is created, if you are curious in nature, in every object, in the object where you are interested in, so that is nothing but inquiry bent of mind. So if that inquiry approach is followed in science learning, perhaps it will help in developing your process skills. It will develop your scientific knowledge. It will develop your science as a product, and it will develop you to lead a life like a all-round developed personality. You will be better citizen. You can build the world. You can influence on the world, and you can generate. You can be novel. You can innovate. You can be better adjuster personality in the world. So, which is the real purpose or aim of science? Then, what is inquiry approach then? So, the teacher should sometimes when the teacher engages or the students and teachers are engaged in a particular topic and the inquiry approach is to be adopted, at that time, what will the teachers say? This teacher may introduce a concept, any concept, maybe a concept, maybe a knowledge, but he should not give as it is, because he will try to create the inquiry better mind. Suppose an example may be given like this: when you make a switch on, the bulb is not glowing. The bulb is not glowing. Then at the time, the teacher may ask why it is not glowing. At the time, when he says that it is not glowing, what may be the reason? The teacher will not ask, the teacher will not clarify why it is not glowing. What are the necessary causes? What are the necessary probabilities? What are the necessary conditions where the ball is not glowing? So at the time, he can ask several questions, which are inquiry based. What may be the reason? The students may say, yes, the ball has been fused. There is a disconnection between the switch and the ball. In between, there is a leakage of the wire. Now the electricity is not on. The electricity flowing is not there from the main switch. There may be various reasons. But when this kind of hypothesis, this kind of assumptions, this kind of thinking, it is built up in the students, it is built up in the children, that perhaps this kind of thinking will help the students to create inquiry better mind. And if this inquiry better mind is created, then only the student will think, the student will have a logical relations, the student will relate to your previous existing knowledge, the student will correlate various phenomena, various knowledge systems which have known earlier. So linking the knowledge systems, comparing, judging, thinking, contradicting, by this way of dealings, this way of behaviors, the child will create inquiry better mind. For that reason, the teacher should not teach the topic all of a sudden with all the scientific facts to the teachers. Rather, he shall ask a question, the student answers this, try to answer this. The teacher only say, no, it may not be. The teacher will say, yes, it may be. From this example, it can be clarified more. Suppose a teacher said, why the ball is not blowing? The student said, sir, the ball is fused. So look at it. Suppose the ball is not fused. So again, why then it is not glowing? Then another student may say, sir, there is a misconnection. So it should be observed. It should be experimented. It should be seen. So at that time, suppose there is no leakage in the wire. Suppose there is no disconnection from the switch and from the to the bulbs. Then it should be experimented. It should be judged. It should be observed. Then only another situations may come. In this way, the teacher only say, this may happen. This is right. This is wrong. So by talking, by discussing with the students, yes or no, yes or no, yes or no, yes, it may be, no, it must not be, perhaps. If in this way the class is moves on, then with this system, the student will develop their inquiry bent of mind, they will judge, they will relate, they will improve, they will experiment, they will be inventive, they will make a dialogue with themselves. So by this process, the inquiry, the quality would be developed in the students. So this is inquiry meta mind. So what is that? What is so what is the important behavior of a teacher here? He only a facilitator. I don't know. I don't know. That means after the statement given by the teachers, I don't know, at the time the student would think. The student will discuss amongst themselves. So this is nothing but an atmosphere by which inquiry, which is a logical thing, which is a creative thing, which is a maybe comparative of previous knowledge and this present experience. So by this way, the class should be led and the various subjects should be led so that the bent of mind would be created and the students should be make enjoyment and there is a possibility of thinking. So this is the purpose of inquiry approach. So what are the advantages? Learners become problem solver because the problem is not solved by the teachers. It is solved by the students. When the students, they solve the problem and not by directly by the teachers, rather it is only facilitated by saying, I do not know, it may be there, no, yes, carry on. By in this way, the student would be taken responsibility to solve the problem rather than teacher's response. So the teacher will not give direct answers, direct response, indirectly will lead the class. What is the second advantage? Learners actively participate in the construction of knowledge. Third advantage is learners will get opportunity to learn various concepts of their own. So when they engage in learning the particular problem, when they have to solve the problem, so these are nothing but the opportunities are provided. When maximum opportunities are given to the students, it is a possibility that the students would solve them, the students would create them, the student would construct them. So it is nothing but it is an active learning engagement. It makes a learner more creative. Learners learn how to design hypotheses because in this phenomenon, the student would create to hypothesize when they are giving assumptions. They are giving various probable situations. It is nothing but it is developing in their inquiry meta mind. The learners learn how to verify hypotheses because they will themselves, they try to ask questions, they would try to solve that. So it is the purpose of inquiry meta mind. But there are certain disadvantages with that of inquiry meta mind, inquiry method, inquiry approach. So what is that? That means it requires a creative mind. It requires maximum concentration. It requires a logical relationship. It requires a particular critical thinking. So if the student is not having critical thinking, if the student is not having rather a critical mind, logical relationship, if he has poor intelligence, if he has no ideas, if he is not cooperative, if he is unable to discuss with the friends, then it may so happen that it is not applicable to that method. Actually, inquiry approach is more applicable to the students who are more than average in that respect where these qualities are there. But it does not suit, it does not help if they are less intelligent, if they are not interested, if they are not creative, if they are not enjoying the classes, or they may not get help. Perhaps you are clear. If you are not clear, towards the last part of the class, we shall discuss. Then what is problem solving approach? It is an approach when the problem is given. When the problem is given, then they have to be solved by the students, by the learners. So what is that? What is that? What is problem? Sometimes it is confused to the students. Problem means it is a feeling. It is to be felt. Suppose I am going on the road and there is a blockage. There is a blockage. There is a humps where I cannot ride. So it is a problem for me. And there is a hump and another driver, he comes and comfortably, he makes over the harms. So for him or her, it is not a problem. So problem is to be felt. For a particular obstacle, it may felt to me as a problem, and for another, it may not be a problem. So what is problem solving? If a problem is given to a class, you see that some students can solve the problem smartly, and some students, they cannot solve the problem smartly, because who the students could not solve, for them it is a bit more problem. And if the students could comfortably solve the answers asked by the teachers, there is less problem. So what is problem then? So a particular situation may not be felt as a problem to many. So if a problem is felt by me, if a problem is felt by a particular student, if a problem is felt to the many students in a group, so they have to solve the problem, and this problem solving approach is to be cared. The problem solving approach to be known to the students. So what is that? Problem solving is, it is nothing but what kind of obstacle, what kind of problematic situation, what kind of inadequacy, it should be defined. That means if a problem is not defined properly, if it is not conceptualized, if it is not noted, what is really difficult, what is really not known, what is wanted in this question, what kind of inadequacy is there, whether all the information is related to the problem, it is known to the child, or some of the elements or components or related factors, it is unknown to the students. If it is not clear, then perhaps the problem cannot be solved. So problem should be identified first. After identification, it should be defined properly. What is given in the problem, what is asked in the problem, in which directions it is wanting that this type of solutions is needed. Then after this, there is a kind of second step, third step. That means you have to guess the problem. That means nothing but hypothesizing. So what is hypothesizing? That means you have to forecast, you have to predict, because you are known persons, you are aware persons, you have some knowledge regarding this, may not be full, and by this previous existing knowledge, by these previous existing experiences, by these existing previous practices, you may forecast, you may give an assumptions, you may give a guess. That is literally or educationally, it is known as hypothesization. So hypothesization or hypothesis, it is nothing but, we may, in a simple term, we can say it is guessing, it is an intelligent guessing, it is an assumption, it is an assumption which is as related to your previous experiences, it is related to previous existing knowledge, it is related to previous concept formations for the students, and for that region only, for that situations only, the student will guess, the student will predict, the student will state that this is a hypothesis, this may be the problem, this may be the solution, this may be the answers. So in this way, the student will suggest. So you see, when the student is able to suggest, when the student is able to forecast, when the student is able to define, say perhaps this may be the solutions, so it is nothing but it is creation of a mind. It is creation of a mind. So creativity for guessing. It is creation of the mind for innovation, for thinking. So this is the real purpose of science, because in this way the process skill will develop, the observation skill will develop, the experimentation by the process of in process skills. You may remember that one of the process is hypothesization, one of the process is prediction, one of the process is thinking, critical thinking. So this is the whole purpose of education, the whole purpose of science education. For that, problem solving approach is to be applied to the students, and it should be well acquainted with the students, so that they will attack the problem, they will try to solve the problem, and they will try to solve the related life problem after solving the problem in the classroom situations. Then after framing, after formulating a hypothesis, after guessing, they will test it. They will test it, because when I said that the ball is not growing, at that time their suggestion have come. Their suggestion have come. This may be the possibility. This may be the possibility. There is another possibility. So after one by one, if the test, then there may be a solution come, and at that time they will say yes. Out of various possibilities, out of various postulates, out of various assumptions, this is right, and this becomes theory. This becomes the solution. So in this way, to deal this problem solving approach, first we have to feeling the problem. Second, the problem should be defined. Third, the formulation of hypothesis or tentative solutions are to be formulated. Then it should be tested one after another. And when the testing is conducted, that means you are to analyze, you are to interpret, you are to judge, you are to evaluate, you are to assess, you are to conduct experiment. In this way, you have to test it. And after testing, experimenting, verifying, analyzing, interpreting, at the last part of the time, when it is available that this is a particular solution and this was not. First hypothesis becomes true, second hypothesis is false, second hypothesis is false, third hypothesis is false, fourth hypothesis becomes true. So, these are the right kind of solutions. In this way, you have to develop your mentality, you have to develop your working procedure, you have to develop your mind, you have to develop your critical thinking, you have to develop your inventive mind, you have to develop your experimental skill, you have to taste it, you have to interpret it. In this way, nothing but whole purpose of scientific knowledge, scientific process, and any relationship within that learning situations, teaching learning situations, the characters are developed and the students become scientific in nature, scientific in mind, and scientific in personality. In this way, how to solve the problem, the approach should be there. Then there are also several advantages as well as disadvantages. Because when we are teaching the approaches, and in due time, after some time, we will deal with methods. In every method, it is not 100% suitable to all of the students. In every situation, it may not suitable to maximum satisfaction. For that, every method, every approach has some demerits, has some limitations. Every method has some contribution, has some limitations. Every approach has some advantages and its disadvantages. So different approaches and different methods have their relative importance and relative limitations, disadvantages. And I will discuss, and you please concentrate that what is the advantages of problem solving approach. This approach is effective in developing scientific skills. When I was narrating, discussing before class, what is the scientific skills? So that is an effective approach, because if you are confronted with problem solving approach, so it is nothing but it is skill, because problem solving ability, when the car is not starting, when you are unable to make a dish, when you are able to make a good handwriting or picture. So this is nothing but it is a kind of skills, and problem solving is it also a skills, because when you are in the chapter of motivation, perhaps if you have read clearly, that problem solving approach is at the highest peak of your motivation. When you are able to solve the problem, that means this is the highest form of learning by which you can make it transparent. You will be able to make it transferable to your real life learning situations. Because when we are getting learning, when we are learning, it is nothing but the important purpose is our learning must be used in our life situations. We must be comfortable in our later life situations. We must enjoy our life. It must develop our economic self-sufficiency. We may get peace. In this way, if all learning and any material you learn, maybe science, maybe geography, maybe history, maybe any language subjects, that should be really applied in our day-to-day life situations. So in this way, when you are acquainted with the problem solving, no problem comes, no problem, yes, problem comes, but you can solve easily. Any real life situation, in your real life situations, if there are many problem comes, but by problem solving ability, by problem solving bent of mind, by problem solving approach, you can best judge it, you can analyze it, you can evaluate it, and you can check it. You can solve it. You can arrive at a conclusion. You can surpass it. You can overcome it. So this is the purpose of problem-solving approach. The approach is helpful in developing higher order thinking skills. What I have narrated just before, because out of all the thinking skills, it is the higher order of thinking skills. The learner learns to accept the opinions shared by others. This is an approach where there is a possibility that maximum students, they cooperate, they share their opinions. With their opinions, the cooperativeness, the cooperative feeling, the opinion sharing, it is maximized. Learners learn how to formulate a hypothesis, which I have discussed. Learners learn how to test hypotheses, because if the various opinions are there by one, if you try to solve them, if you try to test them one by one, then it is nothing but experimental skill and how to test the hypothesis, how to tackle the various situations you are confronted with, and you will overcome it, you will bypass it, and you will be arriving at the last part, that is conclusion. Then there are also certain limitations or disadvantages. This approach is very slow and time-consuming in nature, because when there are possibilities, the assumptions, the testing of the hypothesis, the evaluation, the analysis, the relationship, sharing of opinion, so many things comes. So as that of lecture method, as that of demonstration method, it is not doing in that way, because it takes maximum time. It takes more time. So as much as problem solving approach is to be applied for learning purposes, for teaching learning purposes, so the course completions may be lagged behind. The course may not be complete what you have expected, because the approach is such, because certain other development is done within the students. So the more important limitations is that in due time the course may not be completed. What is expected by a teacher? It takes maximum time. Of course, another merit, what is that? That you will develop your problem solving skills. So it is certain that when you are to develop in some dimensions, other dimensions may be lagging behind. So it is it is fact. Then second disadvantage is, with the help of this, teachers cannot complete the syllabus within the given time. All the teachers cannot apply this approach as they are not trained and experienced to use it. Problem solving approach, it is not an easy task. It is not an easy task. So it is a kind of ability to be generated, to be acquainted within these teachers also. So when he is to given various problems, he want to deal in the class in such a way so that the facilitation occurs. It is not an easy. For that reason, the training, proper acquaintance in that kind of problem solving approach should be made available to the teachers. These teachers should have orientation in that. All learners are not able to learn with the help of this approach, because it needs higher order of thinking. If the class is a mediocre class, so more than 60% are less than average, so in that class problem solving approach is not suitable. At the time, only discussion, demonstration, lecturing, observation approach may found suitable. So problem solving approach, though it is helping the students in higher order of thinking, but it is not suitable for all the teachers, for all the students, for all the concepts to be covered. Then last, sufficient resources will be available to the teacher and learners. When the students are to solve the problem, the students as well as the teachers should have more resourceful, much resourceful. In many respects, if they are knowledgeable, they have much more potential in every experiment, in every theory, in every concept. Then perhaps there may be a relation, there may be a guessing, there may be a prediction, there may be an hypothesization, and also the various experimental skills, so that we will be success at last part of the problem. So in this way, this is problem solving approach. Third approach, which is important one, and today it is more prevalent, that is cooperative learning approach. Cooperative learning approach is very innovative and in today's class it is a much more huge. That is, it is very positive, because sometimes the students are shy in the class. There is a less relationship between students and students in between the class. There is less rapport between teachers and students. So cooperation is less in the class, cooperative spirit. Always the students as well as their parents and the teachers, sometimes they are in favor of competitions. Every child, every student, every parent, every teacher asks who got the highest mark. But the teacher is not asking that whether your percentage is 60, whether it is your percentage 50. So he is not satisfied with 60, whether he is not satisfied with 90, rather who makes top the list, who tops the list. So it is concentration that topper, best, but not that 60%, 50%, like that often, where we can touch these words, that cooperation. If the student I am giving clarification to you that what is the difference between competitions and cooperation. Suppose a child gets 99 marks, another child gets 98, another child gets 94, another child gets 91. So in this way, there are 4 marks: 99, 98, 94, 91. So when we ask, what is your number? What is your score? 99, sir. What is your number? 96, sir. What is your number? 94, sir. What is your number? 91. Oh, Sudham has scored highest. Yes, very good. So in this way, if this statement is there, then he feels proud that I have scored highest and I am first boy in the class, and 96 who scores, he is the second boy in the class. 91 he scored, he is the fourth boy in class. In this way, there is a competition, there is a rivalry. But if it is noted like this, oh, you are 99, so you are more than 90. Yes, very good. You have scored 91. Yes, very good. You have scored above 90. You have scored 96. Yes, very good. You have scored 94. Yes, very good. So all the students, you are intelligent. Oh, you are A plus. You are A plus. You are above excellent. That means when the 4 students are categorized under excellent, when all the students are categorized under A plus, when all the students are categorized within that of 90 to 100, so it is nothing but their cooperation is there. So there is a cooperative mind is there, but not too much cutthroat competitions is like that. 98 is first, it is second, it is third, it is fourth. In this way, we have to develop the cooperative feeling, we have to develop the cooperative mind in the learning approach, also in the learning situations also. So there should be a better interrelationship should be existent within the students and the teachers. So positive interdependence should be existed with all members of the teaching learning groups, and to complete the task, so that all will have to learn over others. Individual accountability will be there when there is cooperation, because all should share their feelings, all should contribute to complete a task, to solve the problem. So if the approach is cooperative approach, then it will help all of the students, whether one is first boy or second boy or last boy in the class. Then interpersonal skills, communication skills will be developed, leadership skills will be developed, truthfulness, the skill will be developed, brotherhoodness will be developed, their feeling of sharing, it will be developed. There should not be feel any boy shy. So other boy who is shy, he may take the lead day after tomorrow. So these kind of the qualities in the students, there is a possibility of development. Then face-to-face interaction, when there is a cooperation in the classes and deliberate discussions among them, so there is a possibility that face-to-face interaction, by the face-to-face interactions, they will develop the cooperative ability. Then processing or reflecting on how well the team is functioning and how to function even better. So all these students taken together, taken as a group, taken as they should take a spirit that our group should develop more, our class should develop more, our college or school as a whole, we will join, not I will join. I will proceed, not I will proceed, rather we will proceed. Not I will be topping the list, we will top the list. In this way, then we feeling is created. This is the purpose of cooperative learning approach. Then, fourth, experiential learning approach. So it is the very modern, because experiential learning approach, it is may felt to you as a newer term, but it is inherited from the past time. Education is nothing but it is to the sharing of experiences. Learning is nothing but if more of sharing, if the experience is shared, nothing but there is a learning atmosphere. So learning is nothing but sharing of experiences, or the handing down the experiences from senior person to junior persons. It is nothing but the more able persons, more knowledgeable persons, more intelligent persons, when they will transact these learning materials to the downward steps. It is nothing but experiential learning approach. So more experienced man will share his experience to the others, and this experience, when the students will take, then it becomes experience. And experience learning, again we can say that the learning approach is known also as learning through actions. When the students would do activity, would learn by themselves, and he will experience this, and that experience is becoming learning. That experience becomes learning for him. So not that teacher will say, not that problem is solved, not that inquiry of mind is there. It is another approach, that what I will know by myself. I will read and I will know. I will do and I will know. I will experiment, I will know. I will judge and I will know. I shall correlate and I will know. So by this, if by enlarging, by developing, by maximizing the experience by the student, then it is a possibility that this kind of learning, it is more active, it is more broader, it will long last, because what experience you are having, it may not be misspelled, it may not be dememorized, because it is remembered for maximum time in your life. Because experience learning, it is more lively, experience learning, it is more active, experience learning, it is more joyful. Then concept mapping as an approach for planning and transaction. In last class, we have discussed something. What is the concept approach? So concept approach was used for unit planning at that time. If you remember, at that towards the last part of the discussion, that concept mapping, it is nothing but when you know various knowledges, when you know the various concepts, when there is a maximum, there is understanding of different objects, at that time you are making a relationship. Maybe it is related to, maybe it is there is a differentiation, maybe there is a possibility of a distinction. So at that time you are able to check out the class, and you are to having a relationship, and you are to make a connection between various concepts, various knowledges, its interrelationship, its differentiation, so that it will make you lead in the class, make you lead in the learning. So concept mapping, it is in another form, you can say it is nothing but consolidation. In another form, you may say it is summarization. In another form, it may be said it is conclusion. But conclusion not by parts, conclusion not by segregated subject. Rather, it is an integrated approach. It is an interwoven procedure. It is a linked procedure, so that after, if it is made, if a better linkage is made, if better connection is made, if there is a relation is made, then perhaps this will lead to transact relation. This will lead to you plan for a transaction of relation. So for transaction of relation, most important thing, what is known, what are known, what are the relationship between known facts, what are the difference between known facts. So using these materials, these essentials, these experiences, these relations, these situations, you can lead the lessons. It is nothing but concept mapping as an approach. So in this way, but how to use approach? The topic is to be selected. If it is to be taught, then what I have discussed in that period, then key concepts are to be noted. What are the key concepts? Then the relationship between key concepts, the difference between key concepts, it is to be noted down. Then all the concepts are to be mapped out, key concepts, sub concepts, then various concepts are to be interlinked. And after all this is made, it is better to transact the class, it is better to motivate the class, it is better to explain the class, explain the students about any material which is you want to be taught. Then we will switch over to, then there are various examples. Then towards the last part, 6.9, page 50, it is said that adopting critical pedagogy in science teaching learning. Adopting critical pedagogy in science teaching learning. Actually, dear friends, when you have to adopt critical pedagogy. It is a different concept. It is a newer concept after 2005. What is critical pedagogy? Pedagogy means, it is known that students, method of teaching by the students. But what is critical? Adopting critical pedagogy in science teaching. When the science teaching learning is considered, when the teacher engages in the teaching process, when the students are engaged in the learning science, at the time, the method, the approach should be made. What is to be adopted? It is nothing but critical pedagogy. So what is critical pedagogy? When the method of learning is processed, it is adopted, it should be critical. It should be critical. So it is a critical pedagogy. What is critical? Critical pedagogy, it is nothing but when a teacher is teaching the class, you shall have to be critical. When a student is giving a statement to the teacher, statement to his friends, all the time, if you develop the nature of a critical, you should be critical. You should be critic. What is critique? What is critical? That means you have to question. You have to put question. Why, sir? If not, what will happen? If yes, I think it will not happen. In this way, you shall be critical. And if you shall be critical upon every statement the teacher giving, upon every experiment the teacher is conducting, upon every opinion he is surpassing, so it is nothing but critical pedagogy. So after 2005, critical pedagogy, it is a method of study, it is a method of learning, and the student, if he is critical, that means when I have said critical thinking, it is nothing but, it is coming under critical pedagogy. If I develop the power of critical thinking in me, perhaps I can question my teacher. I can question anything. If it is written in the book, I can question to the examiner why I am not getting better mark, if I am right. So in this way, if I am critical, if I am putting a question to my teacher, to the students, to my group mates, then it is nothing but it is critical pedagogy. And in this point of juncture, in this 21st century learning, if critical pedagogy, it is a way of learning, if it is where it is an approach, then perhaps the student will develop the power that they will develop critical thinking, they will share it, they will develop it, they will disseminate it, they will analyze it, they will evaluate it, and the criticality or critical personality, or to make criticism, or to have a opinion over everything, it is a possible, and the student will develop in that respect, which is the aim of learning, which is the goal of learning, science learning. In this way, there are 4 to 5 approaches we have discussed. One is inquiry approach, second is problem solving approach, third is experiential approach, third is cooperative learning approach, fourth is experiential learning approach, and fifth is concept mapping approach, and last part is cooperative learning approach. In this way, there are certain approaches in order to build the teaching learning processes in the science classes. So now we shall switch over to methods in science and teaching, which is the important part on yours to how to develop a lesson, how to transact a lesson, when transacting a lesson, what is the role of a method so that the teaching learning material, it will be easily managed or organized in the class, and the students would develop their learning, science learning. And at the last part of the class, you can know, yes, the method has the right applications, the method is useful. By the proper applications of the method, the students are able to realize their goals, or they have achieved the particular domain which is fixed, which is set before the class is started. Or in other way, we can say that the objectives have been set, and by using the particular methodology in science, the learning material is transacted, the teaching learning process was organized, and after that, it is possible that their goals, their objectives, their aims, it has been realized. So in this way, we will discuss one after another very shortly, because it is deliberately, it is discussed about approaches. We will switch over to it very in a short period, so that, but it should be comprehended. It will be understood by you. Then what is, there are different kind of methods. One is teacher-centric method. Third is learner-centric method. Then again, one of the methods is cooperative learning method. Then in this way, we will concentrate over teacher-centric method and learner-centric method. In this way, what is teacher-centric method? Demonstration method. It is a teacher-centric method. Lecture cum demonstration, it is coming under teacher-centric method. Laboratory method, it is coming under teacher-centric method. Firstly, I am trying to introduce you in this way. What are the learner-centric method? Investigatory projects, it is learner-centric method. Heuristic method, it is learner-centric. Natural exploration, it is learner-centered. So, what does it mean, teacher-centric method and learner-centric method? Teacher-centric method is that it is centered around the teachers. When the teaching learning situations is organized in a class, at the time, the important role is of the teachers. The hero is the teachers. The villain is the teachers. But the students are passive. The more active is teachers. So there is the passive learners. If the learners are passive, so the learning is passive. So it is nothing but teacher-centric, which is coming under demonstration, lecture cum demonstration, and laboratory. You see, what is demonstration method? Demonstration method is that if a particular subject is taught through demonstration. Demonstration means there is a demonstrator. Teacher is demonstrating. When the activity is going on, it is experimenting, and part by part, each activity is demonstrated. Demonstrated means it is shown to the child, and the students are simply observing. So when they are observing, and maximum dictation, maximum experimentation, maximum talking, it is given by the teachers. So it is centered around the teachers. So here, when the teacher is experimenting, the teacher is showing, the teacher is talking, so he is active. When the students are observing, the students are listening, so they are the passive learners. So it is teacher-centered. And when we shall come lecture cum demonstration, it is also thing. When the lecturing is given, lecturing means verbal. He is using verbs, languages. So only he is putting his theory, concepts by words. So it is heard by the students. So it is nothing but lecturing. And sometimes he is demonstrating, he is showing. So you are observing by your eyesight. You are listening, you are hearing by your ears. So your eye and ear, they are using there. So the both sense organs, you are getting learning. You are learning. So, but who is speaking? Teacher is speaking. Who is showing? Teacher is showing. So who is more active? because you are sitting only, but he's acting, he's manipulating, his body gesture is there, dismantling is there, he's exposing different things variously, he's moving around the class, he's walking, he's laughing, the particular tone is changing. So more active is teachers. You are not more active. These students are passive here. In this way, laboratory method. What is laboratory method? In a laboratory, the teacher explains you. There is a laboratory demonstration or laboratory attendant. He tries to make you understand what you have to do. What you have to do. He only demonstrates. He only shows you. Then only you are working. So maximum work, though you are working independently, but you are taking the help of a demonstrator. You are taking the help of a laboratory attendant. You are taking the help of a lecturing of a teacher, lecturing of a lecturer. So in this way, it is teacher center, more of teacher center. Not that the students are not having a part. The students are not taking part in the discussion. It is not that. The students are taking part. The students are listening. The students are doing. The students are experimenting. But the maximum role, the important role, the active role is of the lecturer or teacher. So it is teacher centric. But again, you see what is learner centric method? Investigatory project. What is investigatory project? When a project is given, what is project? In last class I have said, project is nothing but it is a wholehearted activity. It is a wholehearted problem. So when you see that it is a problem, it is a purposeful activity, it is an important activity which has a significance in the learning situations in a society, in a classroom atmosphere. So it is nothing but it is child-centered, because child takes interest, the students takes interest, the students tries to solve the problem, because the project is nothing but a work, it is to be completed. When the problem or task, you can easily say it is a task to be given to the for completion. When he is to complete the task, so he will be initiative, he will take interest, he will create zeal in him. He shall consult his parents, he shall consult teachers, he shall consult with his friends, and by that he will be creative in mind, and he will be investigatory mind is created, and investigative project he will try to complete it. So when he will try to complete the investigative project, he will inculcate many spirits, he will develop the various minds, innovative minds, zeals, then judging power, relating powers, critical ability, thinking. In this way, this process skills should develop. And heuristic is nothing but also it is inventory. Also it is heuristic means new things, creation. Heuristic means new discovery, better mind is created. It is heuristic project. You shall develop a new concept. So when the heuristic project is given, heuristic is a particular method by which the student would develop by his own. Natural exploration. What is natural exploration? When you are observing natural things, when you observe the surroundings, when you observe your environment nearby, maybe in the classroom, maybe in the outside the classroom, maybe in your home conditions, maybe in the marketplace. But if the observation is natural, and in the natural, by the inventive mind of yours, by the critical mind of yours, by the natural observation, by the thinking process, by the reasoning, by the linking, if you can observe, you can explore new things. It is nothing but learner process, because sometimes the teacher is in a mood when he asks a question and the students the answers differently. At that time, from the answer itself, the teacher gets knowledge, the teacher gets learned. So at the time, it is nothing but it is an exposed, it is nothing but it is a kind of natural exploration, it is a kind of particular it is nothing but the students' creative mind. So in this way, natural exploration, heuristic method, investigator project, it is learning center method. And we shall switch over to cooperative learning method, jigsaw method, think, pair, share, other methods. So cooperative learning method mein I am asking that how to form the groups, and how to share the group findings. Then there is a group sharing between your friends. And in this method, it is a cooperative methods. It is a cooperative methods. So cooperative learning re, ame kon kaiba, you can take the example which is reflected in 64, page 64. Jigsaw is most common cooperative learning method in which learners work in groups to achieve a common goal. It is a jigsaw method. In science teaching learning, this method is useful for exploration, experimentation, as well as for project work. Any project work or any activity is given, in any exploration is to be given, any experimentation is to be given. So a group is to be made, then sharing is to be made, and the expertise or view or the learner's opinion, if all are exchanged within that, and all their opinion, all their experience, all their knowledge, they put together, they can solve the problem. Sometimes another group is there, another terminology is there, it is known as think, pair, share. That means you shall think, you shall pair, and you shall share. Because totally you can conclude by this method that the thinking is a particular quality, it is to be created. It is to be created. If the student will think independently, if they question various, they can pose problems, they can pose various issues, what they have thought, then perhaps that thought, that issues, is to be discussed, is to be shared by making a pair amongst themselves. Then after pairing, they will consolidate, they will share, they will exchange their views, and the common findings will be there. Common findings are there. And in each group, if the students are paired, then the think, then they share, perhaps it will create some newer experiences, it will create knowledge, it will create vision, it will create a mission, it will create various newer things. So that's that creation, the purpose of science learning. So while using think, pair, share method, it is expected from a teacher that the teacher should facilitate, the teacher should be a right facilitator. That means when he set a pair, he should judge which pair will work more. That at that time, as he is a regular teacher, he knows the mentality, ability, achievement domain, which student has what kind of potentiality, which students has what kind of capacity. So according to the pairing should be done, the thought process should be generalized, the thought processes should be created, and after the thought processes amongst the pair groups are managed and it is facilitated by the teachers, then it is shared and common opinion would be evolved. So the important notion is there that there is a development of cooperation. Then there are various methods you can just overlook. 3-step interview, step 1, step 2, step 3, you can read and understand very easily. Round robin brainstorming session, then 3-minute review, number heads together, team, pair, solo, circle the sage. In this way, there are various methods. Now, I am just making a light on the brainstorming. What is brainstorming session? Brainstorming is nothing but if a problem is given to you and you are allotted a group, maybe group of consisting 4 to 5 students, then at the time, the teacher will give task. This is a task, this is an issue, this is a problem. You should think it. You shall give your opinion. You shall give your judgment. If you are able to, you find inadequacy, you find the discrimination, you find the any shortcomings. In this way, if the freedom is given, if the free opinion is given, if the free opinion is shared, and you shall have to think, you shall use your brain, then it is nothing but a brainstorming. So there should be a storm in the brain. If there is a storm in the brain, it is nothing but What is the storm in the brain? You have to think, you have to reason out, you have to delete, you have to add, you have to combine, you have to integrate, you have to expel, you have to judge, you have to evaluate, you have to analyze, you have to interpret. It is nothing but when these works are going on in your brain, it is nothing but it is brainstorming. So these brainstorming sessions are to be created, are to be lighted so that you can able to generate something. You are to able to you are to judge something, you are to develop something, you are to proceed more, you are to accelerate, you are able to accelerate it, you are to able to develop in your personality, you are to able to develop your knowledge potentiality, you are able to develop your understanding, you are developed to put certain good things what is there in the process of science or socialization or in the technology or any respect, any attributes in your long life run. In this way, these are nothing but various methods and various approaches what we have discussed. Then you please see the page number 68. What is inclusion in science classroom? What is the inclusion in science classroom? I'm trying to explain you what is inclusion. Few years back, the term was used was separation. Then it is coming integration. Now it is a term of inclusion. Inclusion is more comprehensive. Inclusion is more understandable term. Inclusion is a particular philosophy. Inclusion is nothing but it is more democratic in nature. Inclusion is nothing but the procedure of includedness. That means every person, irrespective of their color, irrespective of their geniusness, irrespective of their age, irrespective of their opinion, they have to be included. This is the common meaning of inclusion. So let I give you an example. Suppose you are in a class there are 60 students. These 60 students are hailing from different religions. They are hailing from different socio-economic background. Their achievements are varied. Their interests are varied. Their emotions are varied. There are boys and girls. They are the students from different villages. They are hailing from different religions. Irrespective of all odds, irrespective of all differences, one unity is there. All are students of class 9. All are students of class 8. All are students of class 8 of X school. So this is nothing but inclusiveness. Suppose one is handicapped. Suppose one is mentally retarded. Suppose one is, I can say one is Brahmin. Suppose one is black. One is boy. One is girl. One is of upper caste. One is hailing from that village. Other is coming from that village. Irrespective of every disability, irrespective of every discrimination, irrespective of every differentiation, if all are included in a common platform, this is nothing but inclusiveness. So, inclusion in science classroom, that means irrespective of any creativity, irrespective of your creativity, irrespective of your intelligence, irrespective of your color, irrespective of your geniusness, irrespective of your interest, irrespective of your potentiality, if altogether, if you are in the classroom, all you are learning from a single teacher, all of your learning from a single classroom, with your friends, that is inclusion classroom. So the science classroom should be set in an inclusion spirit. So inclusiveness is a kind of philosophy. It is a kind of spirit. So how to develop a science classroom to be inclusiveness? Some teachers, they ask questions to the first boy in the class. Ago bench re jo 5-7 jan pila basichhanti, they ask that particular questions. They do not concentrate upon the last benchers, but it is not. Inclusiveness means, so any respect, any student, wherever he is sitting, whatever his performance, whatever his feelings, if all are respected in a unique fashion, all are respected with dignity, if there is no biasness created from the teachers, then it is nothing but inclusive. teaching. It is nothing but inclusive teacher. It is nothing but inclusive classroom. It is nothing but inclusive philosophy. It is nothing but inclusive culture. So there should be inclusive culture. It should be set in science classroom so that this is a real classroom. This is a real science classroom. Then what to be needed in a classroom so that it is an inclusive classroom? So the instruction should be modified. The instruction should be modified in such a fashion all students can understand every aspect when it is taught by the teachers or teaching any process is going on. Any homework, any classwork, if it is not modified according to the need and aspiration of the students, then there would be not inclusive classroom. So inclusive classroom will then be it is possible if all the students, irrespective of their notions, irrespective of their intelligence, irrespective of their explanation category, irrespective of their understanding style, if they are cared, if they are managed, if they are holded in a common forum, then it is an inclusive classroom. So every difficulty, the difficulty of every student, if it is monitored, if it is progressed, if it is tackled, if the situation is taken care of by the teachers, then perhaps the better accommodation is there, better adjustment is there, better achievement is there. So it is nothing but inclusion. Then instructional material when is given, not that all 60 students in a class can suitably understand a single method adopted by a teacher. It is not possible. So as the learners are different, so differentiated learning material should be given. Differentiated, the instruction should be given. Differentiated methods should be adopted for enriching the class. To enrich each student in the class, if the method is suitably distributed, if the learning material is differentially used for each individual to progress, then it is nothing but accommodating the science class, then it will be inclusive in nature. Instructional material, if it is appropriate to which students, in that way, instructional materials, teaching materials are also to be varied. Then when the instructional grouping is to be made, suppose the particular students, 10 students are of higher group, the particular 15 students, they are of middle group, last group is made of 12. So with a philosophical better mind, with a better psychological instrument, with a better mind, if they are grouped psychologically, there should not be any mental shock to the students. And if this, by using the psychological principles, if the students are grouped, various groups according to their ability, and group administration is there, different group method is adopted, differential instructional grouping is made, ability grouping, and the instruction is group, different interest group is, the group is made according to the interest, if the group is made according to their choice, and if all these kinds of techniques are used in the class, and the teaching learning materials or the teaching learning process is organized by teachers by varying using of materials, using of instruction, using of activity, using of text, then only this is an inclusive classroom. Then the important respect of inclusiveness would be there if their behavior is enhanced, because our sole purpose of education is that the behavioral component of the child is to be developed. So every personality, every behavioral component may be cognitive or affective or psychomotor. If that kind of behavior is molded, developed, progressed, then it is the right kind of inclusive classroom. For that reason, the students should be praised, the students should be rewarded at appropriate place. Not that the rewarding and praise would always to be taken by the teachers. Then sometimes it so happens the curriculum should be changed. The curriculum should be altered, because one curriculum, one method of teaching, one material, it may not suit to all. So if the curriculum is changed for a particular group of students, for a particular group of learners, then it will be more appealing and inclusion is possible. Then it is to be certainly monitored what kind of progress is made. So proper kind of feedback mechanism, if it is given, particular progress is monitored and it is facilitated by giving particular feedback appropriately to the students, then at that time it will be possible that inclusiveness is there. But I'm giving stress. It should not be misinterpreted that inclusiveness, that means uniqueness. By inclusiveness, you should not misinterpret that all the students will perform better and all the students would be categorized in a particular cadre. Our motto is, wherever the students are, at which level the students are, they are to be progressed, they are to be developed. Then each student according to their potentiality, each student according to their behavioral component, each student according to their notion, they are to develop, they are to progress upon their situations. It is inclusiveness. Inclusiveness does not mean same treatment. Inclusiveness does not mean that at same level the students will be. So maybe similar treatment, not single treatment. Maybe equivalent treatment, not same treatment. So if in this way the treatment are given, the material is given, the lecturing is given, the instruction is given, the curriculum is modified, and individual instruction is given, individual monitoring is given, individual reward is given, individual monitoring is given, then perhaps there is possibility of inclusiveness, there is a success of inclusion education. And if it is managed in a science education class, then perhaps inclusive science education is possible. Then adopting critical pedagogy, what I have said, critical pedagogy provides an opportunity to reflect critically about an issue, about a problem. It may be social, it may be political, it may be economic, it may be an moral aspect. So critical pedagogy, it is nothing but it accepts the acceptance of multiple views of the students. It should accept the multiple response of the teachers. It should accept any opinion of the students according to him. So if all the opinions, different opinions, may be similar, may be equivalent, may be different, if all are categorized, all are assembled, all are summated, and we will be critical, we will be very critical, open-mindedness. Criticality means this is nothing but open-mindedness in commenting, in making a particular statement. So this is nothing but critical pedagogy will be a success. So critical pedagogy facilitates collective decisions, making a thorough open discussion and encouragement and recognizing multiple views. When you accept views in multiplication, then and there is a possibility of a solution. Then and there is a possibility of enhancement. Then and there is a possibility of development or growth. If you are not receptive, if you are very closed mind, if you are not open-minded, if you are very rigid, if you shut down your door or windows, then open air would not come into the room. The knowledge would not penetrate to you. The knowledge, it is not possible to be understood by you. So very much open-minded. You should open your mind. You should be very optimistic. You should be very critical, you should receptive, you shall give the recognition to others' opinion, then there will be a success of critical pedagogy. In this way, we have discussed with respect to block number 2 and unit 6 and 7 respectively, the various approaches of learning and their methods of learning. Then with regard to unit 8, I will skip very shortly because it is nothing but learning resources. You know, learning resources are nothing but what are the resources available in order to engage, in order to manage, in order to organize the teaching learning situations of science. So there are various resources. One resource is, you can say very easily, textbook. Second resource is the reference book. Second resource is teacher. Fourth resource is library. Fifth resource is net. Seventh resource is many experiences. So the resources are many. Various technology appliances, various technology, various knowledges. So knowledges, technology, the experiences, textbook, open air resources. Suppose you are all distance learner. You are the students, active students of IGNO program. So what are the resources? Learning resources are there. Your teachers are there. Your item writer, the teacher who writes your books, textbooks, your learning materials, they are the resources. So the resources are teachers, books, reference books, library books, audio, video, any script, any material, any experience others having, all are nothing but resources. So all kinds of resources are to be used and you have to develop. So criteria of selecting a resource, there are various learning resources. They must have a consistency with your requirement. Learning resources should be developed by competent teachers, because if the competent teachers, effective teachers, genuine teachers, professionally qualified teachers, the right context, if they do not have a standard or quality, if they do not write, then it may not have a lucid presentation, then perhaps you will misunderstood. So learning resources should be more appropriate. It should be subject related. It should be context specific. Hello? Learning resources should have physical format. Learning resources should be one of the various media. So there are various kinds of media from which you can assimilate, you can receive the resources. It is very theoretical in nature. You can read and very much understand various learning resources, which is reflected in the page number 79. Resources from immediate surroundings, classroom learning resources, from your compound, from the environment, from the teacher's thought, from the student's thought, from the books, from the worksheets, from the audio resources like radio, tape recorder, mobile phone, from the video. In this way, there are various kinds of resources what are available. Then ICT is a learning resources. It is the most important learning resources. ICT is nothing but information and communication technology, which you are using from internet, computer, mobile, tablet. You are using like video, audio visual resources like television, motion pictures, video films, living objects. Sometimes the resources are visual, that means charts, pictures, models, then micro projector, film strips. So in this way, there are many kinds of resources available. If you can use it, then perhaps you can develop in your learning or in your science learning. So how to develop, how to gather various learning resources, how to develop the learning resources within you, within your vicinity. Then after using these resources, you can develop. It may be the group effort is necessary, individual effort is necessary, or the help is necessary by a organization where you are a part and parcel. Then there are various activities. You shall reflect on 85. You shall have to reflect on importance of various activities in the science teaching learning. I am skipping very fast. One is field trip, second is quiz, third is various innovative exercise, then science fair, talk of science. So if this kind of organization are made, then perhaps the various activities can be organized for betterment of science teaching learning. Some of the important activities are like this: debate organization, then peer reading concept, essay competition, group discussion, science fair, lecture and talk of science teacher, the very good talk of laureate, Nobel laureate, then science quiz contest, then various film show with related to science concepts. If all these resources are managed in the school situations or in the situations surrounded by the students, if it is better managed, then perhaps by using these resources or activities, conducting the activities, or by conducting the experiments, maybe in the school situations, maybe in the laboratory, perhaps the science learning becomes mature, and the students would have assimilate the spirit of science, and the days come when the students would become proficient, when the students become individually potential. At that time, the students would develop their interest to the full swing, so that they will be very much they will create their curiosity. They will be generosity is created, so that they will relate the various mishappening in the world within the vicinity of the students. In this way, let us sum up about the learning resources, where it is given importance on various kinds of learning resources are available, as well as various kinds of activities or other opportunities available with these students. And towards the last part of the book, it is important that assessment in science, which is much more important. So perhaps you have been taught in other classes that there is a small difference between measurement, assessment, and evaluation. So what is the necessity of assessment in science? If there is no assessment, perhaps we are unable to know whether the achievement is done, whether the achievement of the students is done. So assessment is a process by which you can know to what extent the aims and objectives of teaching learning science it is achieved. But it is to be stressed here. Then what is the relationship between the assessment and evaluation? Assessment is nothing but it is a process by which we shall use various techniques, we shall use various tools, so that we shall have to aware about or you shall have to be informed about the performance of the child, about the performance of the students. So when we are able to know the performance of the students, only it is possible by assessing. So assessment is a assessment sometimes it is quantitative as well as qualitative. Assessment is in between measurement and evaluation, because in measurement it is a quantitative one, only we are giving some numbers to express it. But assessment is something, it may be a qualitative, it may be a quantitative. Why assessment is in between evaluation? Because after all the assessment is over, you can make a judgment. If the assessment from various angles, if it is not collected, if it is not there, then perhaps you are unable to interpret, you are unable to evaluate. For that reason, the assessment is done. So when the assessment is done, there are many kinds of instruments. There may be verbal assessment, there may be non-verbal assessment. The assessment from various angles, observation is a method, questionnaire is a method, the opinion of the students is a method, the individual opinion of that particular student. It is a method. So from various sources, as many sources as it is possible, if the data is collected about the students, it is nothing but assessment of a student. So if the assessment is successful from various dimensions, then it will help the students, it will help the authority, it will help the teachers for evaluation. So assessment is more promising word in nowadays in the 21st century for evaluation purposes. And for evaluation purposes, if assessment is not there, evaluation is unsuccessful. Evaluation is not possible. For that reason, we should know about assessment. What are the assessment indicators? What are the tools and techniques for assessment? What is the diagnosis of assessment in science? Then what are the schemes for promoting scientific attitude? Then we shall have to discuss last part, because scheme for promoting scientific attitude, we have at that day we have discussed about scientific attitude, we have discussed about scientific temper, we have discussed about scientific feeling. So how to promote very small schemes, very important schemes are there, very few schemes which are narrated by me now. One is National Talent Search Examinations. You are all comfortable. Kishore Bigyanik Protsahan Yojana, KVPY, it is an examination you know altogether. Rashtriya Rashtriya Avishkar Abhijan, it is one of the notion, it is one of the promising Abhijan. Then Science Olympiads, maybe at the national level, international level, state level, block level, there are various Science Olympiads are there. Mainly it is now, it is national level and international level is organized. We are comparing the scientific achievement of the students throughout the nations, throughout the states. And if these examinations, it is nothing but there is a questionnaire sessions, there is a competitions, it is held nationwide, it is held state-wise, so that the achievement potential, the achievement of the students is known in respect of science. So these schemes, if it is promoted, it is aware amongst all the students of the group, all the country, then there is a situation comes, then maximum students would create their inventive mind, maximum students would create their potential mind in science, or they would have to create curiosity in their mind, they would develop their personality in science, so that real science education will be a successful one in future time. Beyond that, we shall have to discuss various tools and techniques of assessment. Shortly, it is nothing but observation is a skill, inquiry is a skill, experimentation is skill, classification is skill, planning is skill, organization is also a skill. For realization, for adoption, for organization of these skills, we have to use various assessment procedure. That means we have to use various tools and techniques for development of these skills, or you can simply say science process skills, or it is a kind of you can say it is an attribute, it is a habit, it is an intellectual, it is a particular intellectual skills in cognitive mind. It may be in affective mind, it may be in psychomotor mind. So these have to be enhanced, these have to be developed, these have to be grown in the students. For that reason, we have to apply assessment device, we have to apply various tools and techniques, we have to adopt the procedure of assessment. So assessment in science promotes scientific inquiry. Assessment, as it is linked to cognitive levels of learner, for that reason, we have to assess the cognitive level. Unless it is known at which stage it is, then there is no possibility for its growth or development. For that reason, we have to assess. Because assessment may not be separated from learning. Assessment should not be separated from objectives, as because if we do not know at which level the students are, at which level the students are, we cannot make help. we cannot prosper them if we do not know their misunderstanding, if we do not know their lacuna. For that reason, the achievement, the lacuna, the misunderstanding, the doubts, the inadequacies, they are to be known by the teachers. They are to known by their hands. They are to known to their family members, to their parents. Unless it is known how to modify, unless it is known how to monitor, unless you know how to give the feedback, proper feedback. And if the feedback is not given, if the monitoring is not given, if the checking is not given, then how to prosper, how to develop? For that reason, assessment is most important in science. The development of science. Assessment in science. It is one of the most important criteria in order to know whether the object is framed or aims framed, whether it is to be realized in a particular period or not. So assessment, it establishes a link between the instructional objectives and the evaluation. For that reason, various tools and techniques are to be adopted for assessment procedures. I am speaking some of the tools. One is objective type test. Second is short answer, long answer, questions, observation schedule, then interview schedule. These are the tools. Techniques may be the test, assignments, quizzes, projects, debate, allocation. Sometimes their question comes in your exam. What are the difference between tools and techniques? Tools and techniques, it is nothing but tools is an instrument in the hand of a teacher so that the students is evaluated, the students are assessed. Techniques is nothing but the way the tool is used, the way tool is used. So tool is an instrument, the technique is the way the instrument is used. So this is the fundamental difference between the tools and techniques. But there is much relationship, there is maximum relationship between tools and techniques, so that sometimes and many times it is said that tools and techniques of testing, tools and techniques of assessment. So it is uniquely used. The term is uniquely used so that there is no difference between tools and techniques. But really, there is a fine difference, there is a thin difference between tools and techniques. One is tool is an instrument. If it is used, then it may solve the purpose. And techniques is the way it is used, the way tool is used, so that the purpose is successful. And for that, we have to assess differently, maybe formative assessment, maybe summative assessment, maybe diagnostic assessment. In respect of purpose, there are 4 types of assessment. One is placement, second is formative, third is diagnostic, fourth is summative. But more stress should be given, more clarification should be given on formative assessment, diagnostic assessment, and summative assessment. So what is formative assessment? While the teaching learning is on, when the teaching learning processes are moving on in a classroom by students and teachers together, so when the learning process are in right swing at the time, if it is made, if it is rightly made, if it is monitoring is given, if the progress is given, if the students are learning, if there is doubts, it is to be checked, and it is nothing but formative in nature. That means the checking of the students is made, the checking of the teachers are made, whether the teachers are teaching in right directions, whether the students are learning in right directions, whether there is not misunderstanding in the students and teachers, whether there is no doubts arised by the students, it is to be looked down. So it is nothing but formative assessment. But what is diagnostic assessment? Sometimes in formative assessments, in due course of learning situations managed in the classroom, it is not known properly. For that reason, the diagnosis is to be made. What is diagnosis? It is much more technical. It is much more difficult. A psychologist, the psychological treatment or psychiatrist may be invited into the classroom. A counselor may be invited for make him understand that what kind of difficulty and what are its causes. if the causes of learning difficulty is not known by the teachers, it is to be known by the psychologist, by the better expert, and at that time we have to diagnose. So diagnosis is more important than formative assessments. Sometimes diagnosis is necessary for rectification or modification. Then what are the summative assessment? Summative assessment is nothing but after the class is over, after the end of the instruction, there are many tools and techniques are employed in order to know their summative achievement, summative performance, aggregate performance. For that reason, we are to employ summative assessment. Then there are tools and techniques for scholastic achievement. What is scholastic achievement? The achievement is scholastic if it is known about the subject matter. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
कौन होची? अरे डिस्टर्बेंस कौन होची? साउंड गोटे बहुत डिस्टर्बिंग साउंड आछी. ठीक अछि किए बोधे कोन साउंड क्रिएट करूचंती सेपटे ठीक साउंड कम हेले भलो हो. ठीक अछि. अगेन आई एम रिपीटिंग. What is scholastic achievement? The achievement in the subject matter. It is nothing but the scholastic achievement in science, the scholastic achievement in physics, the scholastic achievement in various subject area. It is nothing but scholastic achievement. But other achievements are to be there. It is non-scholastic. That means the various areas or characteristics under affective domain and psychomotor domain. Suppose your feeling, your interest, your attitude, your motivation. In this way, the students are to be generated. The students are to be developed. If all the qualities are not developed, then perhaps only learning, subject learning, or subject expertise, or the knowledge about only theoretical portions, it will not help because the understanding, the development in all respect are necessary, all around development of a personality. The student, if he is a better citizen, he is to be dignitary, he is to develop all the personality in respect of cognition, in respect of emotion.
What happened, sir?
Dr. Day, is your presentation over? Dr. Day, are you there?
Sir is not there.
He's not online. No? Maybe there is some problem. There is some problem in his device. So please wait for some time till he comes online. Because some problem there in the connectivity. He is just coming online. So till such time, please wait. Actually, your block 3 and block 4 are based on different science topics. So these topics can be read by yourself. I was talking to Dr. Day, and he was, telling me that this is not pertaining to pedagogy of science, isn't it? So some presentations about some science topics are there in block 3 and block 4, which you can very well read and gather some information which will be useful for you while preparing a lesson plan. Whatever have been discussed today, topics related to block 1 and block 2. Okay, we have discussed so far different topics related to block 1 and block 2. Two things he was just now deliberating upon. One is inclusiveness of science. So am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir. You are very much
Okay. Okay, please switch off your microphone. Okay. You see, he was telling two very important things. One is your inclusiveness of science teaching, and the other one is different learning resources. As a teacher, you must be knowing that we should not only depend heavily on printed materials, but also we have to depend on different other learning resources available in the websites, or different websites in the form of e-content. Therefore, there is a maximum use of ICT in the teaching learning environment these days. Now, government is promoting to develop smart classrooms. Yeah, I think in colleges, if you go to any college, you'll find there are smart classrooms having electronic boards, beautiful, public address system, large television screen, and different multimedia instruments. So the classrooms are fully equipped. That means modern classroom concept has been introduced, and the main reason is to expose the learners with different modern communication technologies, which are seen these days in the modern world, and these really play a great role in our teaching learning process. Okay, so Dr. Day was clearly telling you about this inclusiveness. Inclusiveness is something, he was very rightly explaining that it is not same type of teaching we should give to different categories of learners in the same classroom. Rather, similar treatment, isn't it? Similar treatment or different kind of treatment is required so that they will also come on par with the general learners. So like that, he was there. He's very much online. Dr. Day, I think you are online. Are you able to
Yes,
hear
sir.
me?
Yes, sir.
So you can carry on. You can carry on now your presentation because time is very short. So please go ahead.
Sure, sir. So what we are discussing, it is nothing but tools and techniques, and for that there is an observation schedule, there is an writing scale, there are certain inventory. In this way, there are very much various scholastic tests and post-scholastic assessment devices are to be used for collection of attributes with respect to subject, domain in subject, and other respects, other attributes or characteristics of the students. If all kinds of characteristics or attributes of the student are measured, are monitored, are developed, are grown, then there is a possibility that the students should develop their scientific personality. So in this way, we have also discussed diagnostic assessment in science. Diagnostic assessment in science, that if we have to test any difficulty in science, actually what is the right kind of difficulty? It is to be assessed. For that, diagnosis is necessary. If the proper diagnosis is not made, if the proper clarification is not made, if the doubt is not cleared in the right kind of terminology, right kind of examples, then the difficulty is not solved. Because science is such a subject, always there will be doubts. There will be doubts because it is not an easy subject. It is a subject to be understood properly. Right comprehension is necessary because science requires comprehension. For that reason, as much as possible, as much tools and techniques should be given, as much testing is being used successfully, and the data is gathered, then upon the data, upon the inadequacy of the student's understanding, upon the difficulties of the student's understanding, upon the point of difficulty raised by the student, it is possible to clarify them. So after clarification of the doubts raised by the students, using by various devices, using by various techniques, using by various assessment procedures, and after evaluating all the queries made upon by the students, then there is a possibility that they will be clarified about the doubts. In this way, in this block, we have discussed 3 to 4 important phenomena, 3 to 4 important dimensions, directions. One is various approaches to teach science learning, then various methods to be used for better explanation of the science subjects, then various resources or various activities to be taken together for better comprehension of the science learning, and at last we have to adopt various tools and techniques, or we have to adopt various assessment procedures, assessment techniques for proper evaluation, for proper development, for knowing the learning successfulness. So the learning successfulness in science cannot be felt, cannot be known, cannot be judged only by assessment procedures. If there is a particular relationship rightly established between the instructional objectives of teaching learning science and the assessment procedures and the evaluation techniques, then perhaps if all the formats are used in a better order, then perhaps the science learning is successful. For that reason, the instructional objectives are to be formulated, are to be used according to the instructional objectives. The teaching learning should be organized, and if it is organized, keeping view with the methods and processes and various approaches, then after the method is successful, after the approach is successful, after the diagnosis is made, if the assessment is successful, then perhaps at the last part, it may be possible that after the proper evaluation is there, yes, we have achieved the objectives. If it is not, again we have to formulate objectives. Again, according to the formulation of objectives, we have to devise teaching learning process. We have to adopt different methods. And after these methods, if it is successful, then whether it is achieved or not, whether achievement of objectives are there, in this way, it is to be on, in a way, it is a cyclic in nature. First objectives, then methods, then evaluation. After evaluation, again it will come to objectives. So in this way, if a particular cycle is arranged between objectives, methods of teaching, and evaluation, then our science learning would progress. Our science learning would develop. Then what we have discussed regarding the approaches, methods, assessment, these techniques, these ways, if it is incorporated in the block number 3 and 4, then perhaps as a science teacher, we would be successful science teacher in dealing various subjects of science in our classroom. Because what we have taught, what we have learned in block 1 and 2, these are direct application, these have direct bearing in transacting our several content portion reflected in block number 3 and 4. If there is misunderstanding arises, this misunderstanding lies with the understanding of block 1 and 2, we cannot be 3 and 4. So it is my honest request and also instruction that you shall have to clear understanding about the portions reflected in block number 1 and block number 2, specifically these portions with regard to instructional objectives, with regard to methodology, with regard to teaching learning materials, with regard to various teaching learning activities, and with regard to evaluation procedure or assessment procedure. And if these chapters are clear, then perhaps the summary, the suite, you get it from these chapters. If it is rightly applied in the subject reflected in your subject, in your books, textbooks, then perhaps you can be an effective teacher. You will be an efficient teacher. You will deal the science classes perfectly with your satisfaction. With this, I complete the formal discussion, and I ask if there is any doubt with regard to any concept discussed or any query you have with you. Thank you for your patient hearing, listening. Hello? Hello?
Good afternoon, sir.
So,
Good afternoon, sir.
good afternoon.
Sir, this is Gyananjan here, sir.
Gyananjan.
Actually, sir, you said, sir, there is basically 4 types of assessment, placement, formative, diagnostic, and the last one is summative.
Summative, yes.
Suppose I am taking consideration into National Science Olympiad.
Hello. Gyananjan.
Yes, sir.
Are you in a position whether it is to be intimated to sir, or yes, we will carry on because it is recorded, no? So shall we have to intimate sir?
Okay, sir. I will be waiting, sir. Till sir comes.
You have got to wait, but as I have completed, whether it is known to director sir, I am unknown. For that reason, I am asking.
Sir, actually, I don't have any idea about that.
Actually, you should give a box with a writing in a box so that they will know that the formal discussion is completed. Then the discussion session will be started very soon.
Okay,
please,
sir.
Please you convey.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Someone in the meeting denied you request to join.
Dr. Dey, am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Sir.
Actually, because of power failure, I was disconnected for a while.
Sir.
So I got reconnected. So
Sir,
I think your presentation is over.
Sir, my discussion is over and one student started questioning, but I said that you should be intimated in that. So he has requested you to.
Okay. Okay, please, now the students are requested to put up their questions, if there is any.
Janaranjan has started asking.
Okay. Okay, dear students, if you have any query or any questions pertaining to the presentation given by Dr. Sanjay Dey, you can put up so that we will take up those questions one by one and start responding to them.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Sir, as I was asking before that, sir has discussed that there is basically 4 types of assessment, like placement, formative, diagnostic, and summative. Suppose I will consider about National Science Olympiad.
Okay.
So that will be under which type of assessment?
Actually, when the classroom purpose is concerned, when the classroom learning purpose is given considerations, there are 4 types of purposes. One is placement purpose, second is formative purpose, third is diagnostic purpose, and fourth is summative purpose. So, if the assessment is given, our first purpose is to categorize or to place the students in a particular profession, particular class. So it is placement assessment by which the students are given to a particular class or profession or employment. And if they are rightly placed, whether they are progressing or not, it is to be known by the formative assessment. Mainly checking, monitoring, it is done. Then feedback is given. And towards this third part, when there is a difficulty, we have to know the cause of difficulties of the students' learning, and it is nothing but the assessment is known for the diagnosis. It is diagnostic assessment. And the last part, when you have to know the achievement of the students, towards the last part of the session, last part of the class, it is nothing but it is summative evaluation. That means you have to know the summation of the students' learning. You are asking about attending the competitions like National Olympiad Test. When the students are attending the Olympiad Test, certainly it is not that it is the classroom, but it is a competitive examination. The students are to be rated. It may be referred to placement as because after selection, a particular rank is there, and from the top, so many students would be given a prize. And for that purpose, it is a placement of prizes, placement of award. And all this, at that time, I can say it is a summative assessment because from the summation result, from the total result, you are graded, you are given a certificate, you are given a prize. So there is a maximum relationship, much more relationship between summative evaluation and placement evaluation. Summative assessment, placement assessment. Based on the summative assessment, you are given a higher place. Based on the summative assessment, you are given a higher place. On the basis of the placement evaluation, you are given a place. So, when the competitive examination is concerned, certainly it has 2 purposes. First purpose is summative purpose or summative assessment. Why it is summative? Because you have to be catered at which rate you are existing. What is your position you are holding? So it is summative assessment. Again it is placement assessment because if on the basis of that you have to give in a high amount of scholarship, you have to give in a next placement in some other colleges, some other institutions, it is placement. So it is very clear that assessment for which purpose it is to be used. If it is to be used for getting scholarship, if it is used for getting a certificate, if it is used for getting a position in a society, then it is summative. But if it is used for getting a placement in next level, it is placement. In this way, it needs for which purpose it is used. What is the how the result is to be used. Accordingly, the decision is to be made whether it is summative assessment or placement assessment. Yes, it is certainly not. It is certainly not diagnostic assessment. It is certainly not formative assessment. Perhaps you are clear. If there is doubt, you can ask.
Thank you, sir. I got it, sir. Actually, sir, you are saying that it will definitely be the nature of that assessment.
It is related to the purpose of that particular
Purpose, yes,
result.
sir. Sorry, the purpose of that assessment. Yes, sir. I got it.
Because suppose one student got first position in Olympiad, so he got scholarship, he got certificate, he kept in the folder. So for that, it is summative assessment. It may be noted, but if this certificate is used for getting a scholarship and for a higher level, it is getting a permission, promotion, and it is placed in a separate institution. It is placement necessarily. So how it is to be used? For that it is known whether it is placement or summation. Perhaps you are clear?
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay,
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Dr. Dev, there is another question by Rajat Satpathy.
Yes, sir.
He is asking about describe the concept of professional development with respect to science teacher.
Yes. Hello. I am trying to clarify the doubts. Science teacher is a teacher. He should develop because he is to develop professionally. So clear distinction between profession and your vocation. Actually, science teacher is a professional. If I say science teacher is a servant, public servant, he is a teacher, he is doing the teachership for his vocation, perhaps it is a blunder because the teaching is so much a sacred job. When a teacher is discharging it, he is not a simple teacher, he is not a simple man, rather, he is a professional. A teacher is a professional. At that time, we can say science teacher is more of a professional because the dedication of a science teacher cannot be neglected, cannot be surmounted, cannot be diminished, cannot be, what I can say, we cannot dream that the role of a science teacher is not so much as compared to others serving the country. So when the teacher's professionalism comes into picture, science teacher is a teacher who should be a professional, and professionalism comes then when his dedication comes. So for professional development of a science teacher, he should be dedicated, he should be knowledge expert in science, he should be expert in delivering the science goods, he shall have to imbibe the qualities of the student, imbibe the qualities in the student, he should create the motivation to the students, he should motivate the students to such a certain height so that this science teacher would teach science in such a fashion the scientific talent or scientific bent of mind is created within the students. If the teacher can go to that height, perhaps that is professionalism. And it is possible, if really he is a genuine teacher, he is an experienced teacher, he is an effective teacher, he is an efficient teacher, he has professionalism, he has better qualification, he is a proper learner, he is learning regularly, he has a particular relationship with the student, he has known the psychology of the student. It is one part. Second part, he is to learn more. He is to refer journals of science. He is to be oriented in the orientation course. He is to write science articles in the magazines. He is to receive various awards and recognition. For that he is to learn. For that he is to integrate with various personalities of the science organizations. Amongst the students also he is to disseminate information about scientific information, about science. So there are many further activities if it is done by the teachers and he helps the students, then perhaps a learning atmosphere can be created where he can declare himself, yes, I am a professional science teacher. I am a science learning. I am a professional with respect to science learning. In that way, he is to develop his personality.
Okay, Dr. De, normally you see professionalism is associated with professional ethics. If somebody has no professional ethics, perhaps professionalism will not be there in that particular person. And you see, normally a science teacher, not only science teacher, every teacher is supposed to upgrade himself or herself continuously, because teaching is such a profession where constant upgradation is required. If you do not upgrade yourself, perhaps you will be redundant or obsolete in your ideas and your knowledge. So knowledge base must be kept updated in case of every teacher. Then only you will be appreciated by your learners. If you go on teaching the same thing, over the years, I think that will be a kind of stale thing that you are presenting in front of your students. What is required to be done by the teachers is to present new things, delicious things. Suppose if you eat regularly your same curry and same dal or same rice, automatically you will feel monotonous, isn't it? Similarly, if you teach the students the way you are teaching since last 20 years, that is not going to attract the learners or create interest in the minds of the learners, isn't it? So professionalism requires whole lot of qualities and abilities, and every teacher must understand. And you see, your teacher training is very limited. Whatever training you are getting through your training institutions are limited. What is, as an individual or as a teacher, you have to innovate things of your own. Not that everything will be imposed on you or given to you by your teachers of the training colleges like Dr. Dey. It is not there. You have to be a good innovator and you have to think in wider perspective and try to develop yourself, upgrade yourself and update yourself, so that your teaching learning will be effective and your learners will show interest in your teaching. That should be done, and that is true professionalism, isn't it? Dr. De, there is another question by Deepa Sahi. She is asking about diagnostic assessment.
Actually,
function of diagnostic assessment.
Okay, sir. So diagnostic assessment and there is a relation between formative and diagnostic. There is something much more relation in formative assessment. There is when the students are progressing in the class, when the teaching process is on, it is a checking process. Whether the students are in right direction, whether the teachers are in right direction, whether there is a proper explanation given by the teachers, whether it is audible, whether it is understandable by the teachers. It is to be known in the during the teaching process. So it is known by the teachers if we check the progress. The checking of the progress of the teachers and of the students will be known, and mainly it is done during the teaching and instruction. It is formative assessment in a format. But sometimes it is seen the process is going on, but there is lying a difficulties, there lying a inadequacy, there is lying a maximum doubt, and which is not commonly solved by the teachers. It is not commonly solved by the teachers. It is not commonly solved by the students. It is not commonly observable and sorted out. At that time, a deeper understanding about the cause of learning difficulty is to be known, and for which the word is befitting that it should be diagnosed. Diagnosis means the cause of learning difficulty, if it is known, and it is known by the experts, it is known by the psychologist, it is known by the psychiatrist, it is known by the more professionals. So when who is more experienced, more professional, more technical, more learned, if they diagnose, they find the causes, then the treatment is given, and it is nothing but diagnosis. So diagnosis is more detailed. If it is more detailed, questioning is there, and the point of doubt is thought and carried, then there is a possibility of solution. So diagnosis is more deep-rooted, diagnosis is more carefulness is necessary, more questioning is necessary, more question in a singular concept is necessary. So the point of difficulty can be assessed, and it is nothing but diagnostic assessment. Because sometimes a teacher in a classroom, he fails to understand the point of difficulty of a student. So if he asks questions, 100 questions in a singular concept, then there a situation comes, a 67 number question, it is not known to the child and what is the difficulty. Then only he can find the real cause of difficulty. It is not that, it is simply known as diagnostic assessment.
Okay, Doctor, there is another question. Please, describe in very precisely. That is heuristic method. Somebody, Satya Prakash Rao is asking about what is heuristic method.
Heuristic method is nothing but discovery method. If one is having a discovery mind, then in this way, if he learns, then it is discovery method. It is child-centered method. It is individual-centered method. So he will innovate. He will know by himself. It is heuristic method.
Nirupama Das is asking the relationship between learning outcomes and assessment. So should I answer this question? It is a very simple thing.
Sure.
Nirupama, you see, learning outcome is the end product of your teaching or learning, isn't it? It is the end product. And assessment is nothing but the process of getting to know about getting to know the learning outcomes, isn't it? It is the process. Assessment is the process of knowing the learning outcome, and learning outcome is the end product. That means the result. Okay, whatever you taught, how do you come to know that your teaching has been effective or not effective? By assessment. You assess, isn't it? Or maybe towards the end you conduct a small examination, and when you get to know the result, if somebody has scored high, then you come to know that the student has understood or the learning objective has been achieved, isn't it? So learning outcome is the end product, the result, and assessment is the process of knowing the learning outcome. Am I wrong, Dr. Dey?
No, assessment is in evaluation is the last part when we give a judgment, when we give a value in sense of the score or it's in a qualitative term. Rather, assessment, there is a possibility of many kinds of strategy for assessment, maybe written, maybe viva, maybe observation, maybe rating scale. So if all are added together and a particular judgment is given, then it is becoming evaluation which is available at the last part of the time. Like that of assignment, theory assessment, assignment 30 marks, last part of assignments, and then workshop, all are graded to put a last valedictory mark, which is evaluation or end product. Rather, all these are nothing but assessment style, assessment procedures, assessment techniques.
Okay. Satya Prakash is asking about what are the categories of classroom resources. Satya Prakash, you see, you may be knowing that when a teacher is entering into the class, he is depending upon many resources. For example, your blackboard is a resource. Chalk and blackboard are resources. Your textbook is a resource, learning resource or classroom resource, isn't it? Or if you are taking the help of LCD projector, that is a resource. If you are using any other learning material, they are resources, isn't it? So whatever you are using in your classroom transactions, all those things are resources, nothing else. So there are many learning resources. You are talking about classroom resources. Whatever you normally require or you are using in the classroom, they are learning resources, the classroom resources. Okay. I think we have covered all those questions. There is no other question there. Okay. Wonderful. Diagnostic assessment is all right. The heuristic method is covered. Formative assessment. I think we have replied to formative assessment. Is it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
okay,
sir.
we have replied. Okay, there is no other question. If anybody wants to ask any question directly, he or she is permitted to ask, or else we will wind up the session. It is already 12:37 and Dr. Dey is very much tired. He has his own engagements. Yesterday he could not come because of very pressed situation. Okay, there is no other question. So thank you very much, Dr. Dey, for such a wonderful presentations. You see, I was also listening to your presentation in the beginning. You were talking about this inclusiveness, which is very important. This is the catchy word at the moment. Now, wherever we go, we hear normally this particular word, inclusiveness.
Okay.
And if you just look at the versions of Father of the Nation, Mahatma Gandhi,
Okay.
you will find lots of inclusiveness in his basic education.
Sure.
Lots of inclusion.
Okay.
And that is the what should I say? That is the catchy word, and it is implemented to a great extent. And Government of India and different state governments are also trying to create inclusive classrooms, so that not a single child will be deprived. Not a single child will be deprived, and all-round development would take place. That is the idea, and therefore this concept has been added in your B.Ed syllabus. And you are also talking about different learning resources. So all these things are very important. Professionalism, professional development, these are all important concepts, and every teacher must try to understand all these concepts in order to become a vibrant teacher. Okay, thank you, Dr. Dey, for coming online and talking to the students in such a nice manner. So we shall be having similar occasions in future also and interacting with the students. So thank you very much once again on behalf of all the learners and on behalf of the Regional Center Bhubaneswar. And I must also thank all the learners who participated in today's online classroom. So students, with this we completed your BES-141. As I have already announced that your block 3 and block 4 are based on different science topics, and these topics are nothing but the topics which are normally taught in high school level or in undergraduate level. So all these topics you must understand. Try to go through it at least once, so that most of the presentations which are there in block 3 and block 4 you will be able to understand. So with this we completed your BES-141. So tomorrow we shall start with BES-142 with a new teacher, and same time 10 o'clock you all are requested to join 10 o'clock for BES-142. So thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.